Welcome back to I'm Happy and He's Bitter. We are here again.
23 degrees, Brad.
Is
That's the temperature when I left the house this morning.
It's like we got 11 on you right now. It's a very
Yeah, no, it's easily cracked 30 by now. It's getting balmy out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking of balmy, I think solidified spring break plans, so it'll be
Yeah, so what I didn't mean to ask you this on air, but
no,
what
it
do
doesn't
you
matter.
what's the thought there?
I think we're going to go to Hilton Head.
Yeah.
It'll be a little chilly when we're there, but the
This is-
arrangements will allow us to stay away from the general population if needed. And so
Yep.
we'll see if that happens. That's a couple months away.
Yeah, I'd like to go somewhere myself.
Paradise City, where the grass is green.
The girls are pretty.
Paul, do you know what is 30 years ago from yesterday?
30 years ago from yesterday. No.
Last time the Bengals won a playoff game.
Okay.
Surprised you didn't know that one.
Wow. And have the Bengals, through some bizarre quirk of math, made the playoffs this year?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh,
So-
I'm sorry.
So at the earliest, they will have 31 years. Or I should say the latest. I guess the best possibility is they would win a game before the 31st anniversary. But the streak of...
Wow.
know.
So for the entire duration of my marriage, your favorite team has not won a playoff game. I'm sure those two things are not related, but
I mean, we could find out. Let's...
everyone, you're right. I mean, everyone has conspiracy theories these days.
So, anyways, just we'll keep track. Actually, I'm not even kidding. So when I finished my basement, I wrote on the I-beam, the Bengals haven't won the playoff game in 29 years. Have they won a game yet? And
Right.
so whoever takes apart this house, whenever, hopefully they'll see that. And
I'm sure that the response from whoever this is will be, what are the Bengals? Does anybody?
Is that the team that moved to Atlanta or wherever?
Yeah, right. That moved to Quebec City or
Yeah, one of those other big populous towns. Anyways, so this has sort of been vaguely interesting. I guess maybe more than vaguely interesting. So with iOS's new little, what are they calling it? Like Security Digest, whatever that little nutrition label thing that they're making everybody look at now.
I think it's called the privacy label, maybe.
Yeah, whatever. We'll call it the neutral label, whatever. That thing. And WhatsApp is now apparently dumping all their data to Facebook, to ad match you when you're using WhatsApp and all that. So over the past, 72 hours or so, like a ton of my really old friends, like people I've known since 3 years old, have been jumping on to Signal.
Right. Is it because of Elon Musk?
It honestly very well could be, because he tweeted out that everyone should use it, and then WhatsApp comes out and says, "Hey, we're going to start ad targeting you too." And there's, at least in my small group of population, a lot of people have been moving to that. So
You know how Microsoft will buy a company like Mojang, which makes Minecraft, or LinkedIn, and they GitHub, and they kind of nurture it, they make it better than it was. People are kind of half surprised because I thought Microsoft would screw this up, but they actually do a really good job with it. On the flip side of the spectrum, we have Facebook, which kills everything that it touches, including relationships that people have with each other.
yeah, I mean, it's
apps that it buys, terrible.
there was
Terrible.
a great meme of, it was started out with a domino and then it scales up. It's like a science image, but it shows how a small object can knock over a bigger one, bigger one, bigger one. Eventually how a domino could knock over a skyscraper. But somebody altered the text and said, "A site for meeting friends at college," and then it says "toppling democracy" at the top. And that's Facebook.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So-
Dream big,
Yeah. So anyways, Signal, it seems like people are either going there, or Telegram appears to be slightly more user-friendly with multiple devices, but I don't know. Signal might be more secure, whatever. So whatever. People are stopping using WhatsApp. That's a good thing.
I don't know. I find it hard to speak rationally about Facebook these days.
It kind of is hard. But the other rational thing that has happened, and Paul, I know you are very excited about this. This is going to make your 2021. You can now watch all your whatever Meg Whitman content on Roku, because she turned 1.8.
They listed Quibi's top 10 shows
Mm.
And I've not heard of any of these things.
No, nobody
I
has.
I was like, nope, 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 nope. And then, but even like the people that are on it, I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know.
I still think this is a front for like the mob or something, right? Like they took so much money with not a good business plan.
Quibi is like the 21st century version of an old Steve Martin joke where he was like, how to make $1 million in real estate. First, get $1 million.
Yeah.
But the Quibi version is like how to make $100 million in cold hard cash by investing $1.75 billion.
Yeah. Like it almost sounds great. Oh, they made $100 million. No. They didn't make $100 million. That's what they got left.
What's that? Like a 6% return on investment or something? It's pretty low, whatever it is.
Even if it was $100 million, but that's.
It's just. Hey, oh well.
Yeah. So, anyways, you can get all your Quibi content over on Roku because they've bought at least a 2-year exclusive license.
I expect this stuff to wither and die.
Yeah.
And, if there's anything that was less frequently watched in 2020 than Quibi, it was Roku channels.
Well, honestly, I don't know tons about Roku. I mean, I know their product, but I don't know much about their business. I was honestly just surprised that they had $100 million to throw at this. I mean, that's a lot of money. Like,
well, I mean, so Roku, from a hardware perspective, is kind of like the Netflix of the streaming world. I mean, they're probably as big as all the other players combined. I mean, they're big.
Are they a public company?
I believe so. I think they did. What was the thing they just came out with yesterday or the other day?
They are
it was
a public company.
50. What was it? Rather than guess, let me just find the number. 51.2 million active users. There was also, I didn't write about this because it was like more of the same, but today MPD came out with some data just for the United States and I think Canada, and same thing. Like they dominate this market, but
yeah. So here we go.
But, they're trying to get
numbers.
Software. Yeah, they want to get the software going, right? You want to. I don't know.
So they are a public company, and according to their quarterly report for September 30th, so it's a little dated but not too far, they had a little over $1 billion in cash on hand. So they spent about 10% to acquire the content. That's
pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good job for them.
Yeah. How's Essentials doing? Do they have that much money? Oh, wait.
No. See, Roku built a product people like.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I was very interested in that phone, but...
yeah, the problem is that it was just not anything. Like, I mean, they got destroyed by like the Huawei's of the world who were building better stuff, cheaper.
Yeah. Not to mention the whole Andy Rubin thing.
Yeah, that kind of, some of that news.
Else do that is Andy Rubin.
Yeah. And then I'm happy that Microsoft came out and spoke out. They put their foot down and came out and spoke against Duracell Gate. These are the hard-hitting conspiracy theories that are running rampant right now.
I don't get a lot of credit for this because I assume most people think I just missed it somehow. But there are so many things I just choose not to write about. And Duracell claiming, or some guy from Duracell really, claiming that they had some kind of exclusive arrangement with Microsoft, and it was the reason why. Remember the Xbox 360 was the first Xbox console that had wireless controllers. And I remember having big doubts about how that was going to work, and it's been fine. So 360, Xbox One through three versions, yeah. And then Xbox Series X and S has a double A battery bay in the controller for two batteries. And it comes with two batteries when you buy one. They last for approximately 15 minutes. I have no idea why anyone would make this choice. But yeah, by the way, they usually are Duracell batteries.
Yeah, it's clear they have a contract with them that Microsoft makes a peripheral. They need batteries in the box. They're not walking down to Walmart and just scooping them up and like taking them back to the factory.
Okay, fair enough. But the reason they're doing this is not because of any exclusive arrangement or anything like that. I mean,
exactly.
They're just doing it to save money. I mean, you can for about $30 buy a battery pack that fits in that space and is rechargeable, so you can plug it in with a USB cable and charge it. And that's one of the first things I did when I got the Xbox Series X, is I bought one of those things. Because the battery runs out. I mean, not 15 minutes, but it's a couple of days of good usage. It's gone. So to me, that's kind of cheap. Although someone made the point in the comments, the nice thing about having batteries like that is 20 years down the road, when this thing is a retro console, you'll always be able to power this thing up. Like you don't have to worry about batteries, the rechargeable kind of dying.
Yeah.
So having them be in the shape of those batteries is fine, you know.
I will say the Elite Series 2 rechargeable thing has worked out fine so far. I haven't really run into any issues, but I mean, if you're expecting this thing, I don't know, to put it in a box and save it for 80 years, and I don't know, maybe it's not a great thing, but
I wonder if what's inside there is different.
You're just going to open it up and it's just Duracell batteries.
Yeah. Well, it's the rechargeable battery pack sitting in a AA battery holder, you know. Probably not, but that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah. Yep. And then we got CES happening.
I'm going to be selective since I just mentioned what I'm writing about. You know, there have been a couple of early announcements from CES. I don't find any of them interesting. I'm not going to write about it. It's going to have to be interesting for me. So that's my approach to CES. I'm not writing about everything because honestly, most things are not that interesting. And let's face it, yeah, you know, a bunch of new computers are going to be announced or whatever, exciting, I guess. But
a bunch of them announced but not available.
Yeah, I mean, what's the big deal? You know, like it's just the same thing every year, folks. So if there's something interesting, I'll be all over it.
But, you can guarantee you're going to hear 11th gen processors. A lot.
Fun. Yeah. There's going to be a couple of Windows 10 and ARM things, for example. You know, and the problem there, I'll just throw this out, is there is no new processor, and that x64 compatibility thing, not available. Right? It's only in the early version of an insider build. So if you're thinking about getting a Windows 10 and ARM PC this spring for some reason, something went wrong in your brain, maybe, or COVID, something, don't do it. It's just the same stuff all over again. So there's no reason to make that leap, in my opinion.
Yep. Or you can make the leap and
just buy a Mac. Just buy a Mac.
Yeah, I mean, you
want something crazy? You want something ARM that works well? Buy a Mac.
Yeah, but see, it's really pointless to buy a device specifically because it has ARM. Like, it's an ARM chip. Like, what?
Oh, Brad, let me introduce you to our audience. You're right.
I mean, it's the same OS. Like, even on Apple stuff, it's the same OS. Like, it's not like you get something new.
That's true. And by the way, I have to say that if I had to pick one major disappointment with these M1 based Macs, it's that when you boot the thing up, you're like, oh yeah, it's just a Mac. You know, it's like,
yeah, still makes the same noises, same beeps, same boops.
Yeah.
I wonder if the kernel panic's the same.
The beach ball's the same. I mean, I know that from experience.
They should have updated that. See, they should have seized the moment and given us a
volleyball. Should have been
volleyball.
like 10 times faster. That would have been a nice little metric, you know?
Yeah. That's what they should have done, is that the beach ball spins, and then as it the longer it goes, it just kind of warps because it's actually spinning so fast.
So that was a joke with some version of Windows. Maybe it was Windows 10 originally. It was like, you know, they reduced the boot time at some point. And they're like, yeah, it crashes all the time, but it reboots really fast. That's like, okay. Well, I guess I appreciate you looking out on the positive side there. I don't know. I've set my Mac Mini up for a return, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah. As so many predicted, going with the desktop computer was a mistake. So I will correct that.
Well, when they ask why, you should type in the comments and say, I thought it was a BMW.
Oh, I wish it was a BMW. I'd keep it. I had to contact their support chat thing to do this. Normally, when you buy something from Apple, you go to the order page for the item, and there's a start a return link or whatever they call it. It was not there, and I waited days. So finally this morning, I chatted with somebody, and I was, and so they just handled it for me. But
it's like the one person, like, hey, we finally got one. Like,
yeah,
there's one guy who's returning this.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get another Mac. I like to keep a Mac around. I'll probably just get the basic MacBook Air. I think I have enough to cover it. So
well, there you go. Besides dropping that thing off, anything else going on this weekend?
Oh my God! Yes, this is incredible.
You're running the Ethernet cable?
No, it's not. I broke my phone.
What?
I was going to walk the dog the other day, and I put the phone down on the rug. I didn't throw it at the rug. I just put it down to tie my sneakers. And the screen started flashing. And oh wait, I turned it off, so I'll have to turn it back on so you can see this. Remember that white noise pattern that your TV would make?
Yeah.
All right, give it a second. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't show on the boot screen. There it is. So actually, it's kind of washed out, but it's a white noise pattern.
Yeah.
and it will never stop doing that.
Is it flashing SOS?
Yeah, right. It's a Morse code pattern, and now I can't do anything to turn this off because it's booting. But yeah, it's actually very consistent too. It's nice. So I hope nobody has epilepsy because I might have just triggered it. So I contacted Google support about this, and they walk you through the stupid flowchart stuff, and then they're like, okay, so you can we can initiate an exchange, or you send it in, we'll fix it. It's obviously under warranty. I've only had it for like a month and a half. Or we have these local places that you can bring it to, and the local places, and I think it's called You Break
I Fix.
Yeah. So you've heard of this. So I contacted the local one, and there's one, it's like 15, 20 minutes from here. And God, these people are useless. They're like, you should call back on Thursday or Friday because we are getting a shipment. We don't have any parts for those phones now, but we should be getting them in this week, and then we'll let you know. And it's like, or I could just bring it in and you could look at it, and then you could determine what the parts are you need and order them so I can get it fixed because I need my phone back, But that's what they're doing. So I'm going to call them after the show. And if they don't have these parts in, I think I'm just going to contact Google and say, whatever, I'll send it back. But the thing is, look, I'm me. So I have phones. I have tons of phones. It's not a huge problem. But I mean, what would a normal person do? You lose your phone.
Yeah.
Like you need that thing back. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll write about this eventually. I was kind of waiting to see how the support situation, concluded. But Google was great about it. Honestly, it wasn't until I called this local company, the local branch or whatever it is. I was like, oh boy, it's not going to go well. I might actually. I mean, if they're I was thinking originally I'd bring my NUC to them to have them look at that, but they were so shitty about the phone. I was like, I don't know if I want to even give them business now.
We'll see how far I get on this little project.
Project?
Yeah. It's big project, but not really big. You'll understand here. So in our living room upstairs, I hate the lighting in there. I really don't like it. We have like 2 lamps, and I put some like LED strips on top of the bookshelves. It's just really poor lighting. And for years, we've been talking about like, let's just put can lighting in there. Like, it's just...
like in the ceiling?
Yeah. Like in the ceiling. And so I'm going to venture and see how far I can get on potentially doing that. It all hinges on like one major thing. So we have, like most homes, we have a light switch on the wall, right?
Yeah.
That light switch right now currently controls an outlet, and that's what's connected to a lamp. So you press the switch, turns the lamp on. Right. So what I'm going to do is I need to figure out the wiring, figuring out the wiring from there.
And then, or something, and it does one of the rows.
But it all hinges on me being able to run a fishing line up from that outlet up into my attic. If I can get that fishing line up in there, relatively easy project, but messy because you got to cut the holes in. We have plaster ceilings, and that's going to create a huge mess. What? George, if you're watching the podcast, I'm doing a podcast.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling him you should tune into the podcast right now. I am talking about you.
I mean, interestingly, with regards to what do you call them? Pot based or
they're can lights. But so here it gets even more interesting. So the can lights, I can't rip one out of my ceiling, are like old fashioned style, right? They're the big can lights.
They're almost like spotlights. You put outside. I have them in my other room.
But what they sell now, and what I should have put in my basement, but it worked out fine anyways, is because those can lights were designed for like the big light bulbs that you screw in.
Yeah, they require a 6-inch deep or 8-inch deep cone or whatever.
The new can lights, they sell like these. So I bought like can lights and then a retrofit kit that goes on. It's effectively just an LED. And so now what they sell, instead of like the whole can, they just sell that LED light. So what you do is you cut a hole in the...
plug it right onto the...
Yeah, all you do is you cut that hole in, and rather than needing that whole like cavity behind it, it just clips in, and it's just the face of it. Like it's They should be super easy to install, but there's some questions. Like I can't do it where there's a rafter or whatever they're called when you're in the attic. But the big question is I got to be able to get a line up into the attic, and if there's like a header board in there or something, then that's going to screw it all up.
This house we live in, this hasn't come up in a long time, but my father lived here before and he did a lot of the crappy work. that I fixed a couple of years ago. One of the remaining problems is what they were using as a dining room. Although originally, before the sunroom was here, it was just like a den. It was very casual kind of a room. So he redid it, and he did it in my dad's fashion, terribly. And there's 2 rows of these, what do you call them? A cone. What are you calling these lights?
Can lights.
Can lights.
Yeah.
So there's probably 5 of them in each row. One switch turned them all on at once. Stupidest thing in the world. He had it's hard to describe, but there's like a half disc that goes over him, so you can it kind of cuts the light.
Yeah.
And you can angle it. Oh, this is the dimmest room in the house, right? So, and I should say he put in a drop ceiling. It's not like a crappy drop ceiling. Like he dropped the ceiling down and put plaster and everything. But what used to be in there was beautiful beamed ceiling, and it was beautiful before.
Like exposed beam stuff.
Yeah, it was beautiful. So anyway, now it's ruined, and I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to spend all this money. So we have never touched this room, but it's always been the dimmest room in the house. Thing is, we don't really eat dinner at the table that much, like holidays, whatever. So it's not, it's like whatever. But with the holidays coming, and we had Thanksgiving and then Christmas and New Year's all back to back, we're going to be in there. My wife decided she would set my son up to replace all the lights, and he got rid of the little sliver pieces, which was very difficult. And he put in new lights, and now this room is too bright, right? But they're on dimmers, so we can dim them down 50%, and it's 100 times better than it was before. But it's still, this kind of Mickey Mouse halfway step to where I want it to be. Better than what my idiot dad did, but not as good as it should be. But anyway, I appreciate the pain of this.
Yeah. So you bring up an interesting point, which I want to put these. I haven't decided. Actually, I'd like to put these things on a dimmer.
Yeah.
But the challenge is it right that it already leads to an outlet, and you can't put a dimmer switch on an outletted switch. So
yeah, no.
I gotta
but maybe you get rid of that and just have it go to the lights, right? Because you could have probably 2. I don't know how it's going to be set up, but like in my room, there's 2 rows, so we have 2 dimmer switches, so we could put 1 row on. Not that we ever would really, but you could. And I don't know. Maybe this is a job for an electrician, Brad. But
no. I'd rather just lick the cable and zap myself. Anyways, we'll see. And it all depends on if I can get a line up into the attic. If not, then the problem is where the line goes up is right at the pitch of the house. So it's not like I can just go up there and just drill a hole in a header board. I'd have to be like laying on my stomach, and I
fully expect that to be what happens. I think you're going to do it.
Well, I'd like to do it, but we'll see.
Okay. Good luck.